All right, today we're jumping into Japan's huge northern island, Hokkaido. You probably know it for snow festivals, incredible landscapes, and of course, amazing food. But if you peel back that beautiful surface, you find a history that was shaped by forces you would never, ever guess. We're going to uncover the hidden foundations that really make this island what it is.
So, you've seen the pictures of Hokkaido's stunning nature, right? But what if I told you the real keys to understanding this place are actually a 4,000-year-old swamp, some sea ice that shouldn't exist, and a super infamous prison? Yep. In this explainer, we're digging into the unseen foundations of Hokkaido. Okay, our first stop is the Kushiro Marshland. It's the biggest wetland in Japan. And yeah, on the surface, it's this beautiful nature preserve, but it's holding on to an ancient secret. A story of survival against all odds that's been going on for millennia. 4,000 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. For 4,000 years, this marsh has pretty much looked just like this. And in the world of wetlands, well, that's basically impossible. See, here's the thing about wetlands. They usually aren't permanent. They're just a phase. Over time, dirt and sediment build up, trees start to grow, and bam, the marsh turns into a forest. But Kushiro, nope, it just flat out defies that natural cycle. It's been locked in a 4,000-year-old battle with the forest, and somehow the marsh keeps winning. So what's its secret? How has it managed to keep the trees at bay for so long? Well, the answer isn't just one thing. It's this amazing combination of the ground it sits on and the water that flows through it. The whole defense mechanism starts with the land itself. It is ridiculously flat. Because of that, the river flowing through it has almost no slope, so it gets super lazy and meanders all over the place, kind of like the Amazon. When heavy rains hit, this slow, winding river just spills its banks and floods everything. So any baby trees that try to get a start are either knocked over by the water or their roots just rot. The river is basically the marsh's personal bodyguard. But the river isn't working alone. It has this powerful and honestly very mysterious ally, fog. The Kushiro area happens to be one of the foggiest places in all of Japan. And this fog is an absolute game changer. For about a third of the year, it just rolls in and blankets the whole landscape. It acts like a giant natural air conditioner, blocking the sun and keeping things so cool that plants from the Ice Age can actually still survive there. That coolness also preserves the peat soil, which is the literal foundation of the marsh. It's this perfect, self-regulating system. And get this, here's a twist you probably didn't see coming. That cool, foggy climate the marsh creates? It turns out that's the secret sauce behind another one of Hokkaido's famous products. It's milk. Dairy cows love cooler weather, and the conditions here are just perfect for them. That's a huge reason why Hokkaido's dairy is some of the best in the world, all thanks to an ancient marsh. All right, so from the land, let's head out to the sea. We're going to the coast of the Okhotsk, which is home to something that, scientifically speaking, really shouldn't even be there. Huge, massive sheets of drift ice. Now, to get a sense of just how weird this is, think about this. Abashiri, the town famous for this ice, is at 44 degrees north latitude. That is the exact same latitude as southern France, a place known for its warm weather and vineyards. So, how can one place be a subarctic ice fest while the other is a sunny Mediterranean paradise? The answer isn't just one thing. It's more like a very precise three-part recipe. You need the perfect mix of wind, water, and geography, all coming together in a way that happens almost nowhere else on Earth. So here they are, the three crucial ingredients. First, you need these bitterly cold winds blowing straight out of Siberia. Second, you need a massive amount of fresh water dumped into the ocean. And third, you need the unique shape of the Okhotsk Sea to trap it all. Okay, this is the wildest part. The ice you see off the coast of Japan, it's not Japanese. Not at all. It's actually born thousands of kilometers away, deep inside China. The enormous Amur River carries a ton of fresh water and dumps it all into the Okhotsk Sea. And because fresh water freezes way more easily than salt water, it's the absolute key ingredient. The last piece of the puzzle is the geography. The Okhotsk Sea is almost totally surrounded by land, so it acts like a giant bowl. This shape traps all that lighter fresh water from the river right on the surface, creating a layer that can't mix with the heavier salt water below it. So all those Siberian winds have to do is blow across that top layer and freeze it solid. And that's how you get impossible ice. For our last story, we're going to switch gears from natural wonders to human history, and we're going to a place with a pretty dark reputation, Abashiri prison. But its real story is a lot more complicated than what you've seen in the movies. The myth of Abashiri is that it was just this remote, inescapable prison for Japan's worst criminals. But the reality? It was the engine of development for all of Hokkaido. The prisoners of Abashiri were the main workforce that built the very roads that opened up this huge, wild island. You have to imagine what it was like for the early pioneers moving to Hokkaido. They were in a constant fight for survival, clearing their little patch of land, trying not to freeze to death in the brutal winters. They just didn't have the time, the energy, or the manpower to take on a massive project like building roads across the whole island. So the government sent thousands of prisoners to Abashiri to do just that. It was their brutal, backbreaking labor in unbelievably harsh conditions that carved the first roads through the wilderness. They connected the scattered settlements and literally laid the foundation for Hokkaido's entire modern economy. So, what do a swamp, some sea ice, and a prison all have in common? Well, they're the unseen forces, the hidden foundations that sculpted Hokkaido into the place we know today. When you lay it all out, you start to see Hokkaido's real identity. A lazy river and tons of fog work together to preserve an ancient marsh, which in turn creates the perfect climate for a world-class dairy industry. An incredible fluke of geography and weather brings ice all the way from a river in China to the shores of Japan. And the harsh reality of development meant a notorious prison became the tool that built the island's economic backbone. The story of Hokkaido really shows us that the places we think we know are so often defined by forces we never see. The secret path of a river, a wind from thousands of miles away, or a forgotten piece of history. It kind of leaves you with a question, right? What are the unseen foundations that shape the world right outside your own window?